Ava and Amir must be fucking exhausted being the lesbian therapist backbone of this terrible community. Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Shelby. This is Shelby Reads, where we talk about sapphic books all day, every day, 365. For those of you who are new to my channel, I'm a femme for butch lesbian. I came out in the year 2013 and I am a goth. Please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, as always. To my regular subscribers, I'm so sorry that my schedule is off. I know I said there's gonna be a normal romance and then a suspense, but I don't know if you can tell from my voice, I have been sick for like a week and a half. I have been unable to just like sit and talk. And I'm finally feeling better, but like not to the point of putting on makeup, I fear. And my hair is wet and I don't really care. I'm also house sitting, so there are 6 dogs, including my dogs in the house, and a cat. So I'm tired. It's gonna end tomorrow, but I'm ready to be done. Before we get into our last Valentine's Day video, I would like to remind all of you that there is a Google form in the description box below where you can submit terrible sapphic books for me to read. Also, I got these like little bags from Walmart. I hate Walmart, but it was on clearance after Valentine's and I thought they were cute for my makeup and skincare. So today, for the last video for the month of Valentine's, we are going to be talking about My Valentine's Deception by Giselle Nyte. This is book 2 in the Crowned Happily Ever After series. If this is happily ever after, I'm scared. This is a really short book, not as short as the last one, but still pretty short. So I don't think I'm gonna go in with the synopsis. I think that we're just gonna dive right in after I do disclaimers and trigger warnings. So for trigger warnings, I'm pretty sure I put most of these in, but they're from Storygraph. Cursing, homophobia, rape, sexual assault, sexual content, sexual violence, lesbophobia, alcohol addiction, death, emotional abuse, gun violence, sexism, grief, drug abuse, drug use, murder, fat phobia, misogyny, physical abuse, toxic relationship, alcoholism, body shaming, child abuse. Hooray. This chair spins, so every time a dog jumps into it, it starts spinning. I hate it. Now for my disclaimers. Number 1, this review is not for the author, stands with this author's work, friends, family, whatever. This is for other readers, and so we can have a tee-hee-hee little time while I'm angry on the internet. If you don't like rant reviews, don't be here. Number 2, this review will contain all of the spoilers, so if you want to read this book, go read it and come back. Number 3, I'm not bashing sapphic books. I believe we deserve varying qualities of sapphic books, just like all the straight and bisexual people get. However, if they get on here and complain on the internet about all the terrible books they have, I'm allowed to do the exact same thing. This is my channel. If you don't like it, leave. This book makes me angry, so I'm just also extra fired up because I'm tired, I'm sick. I just wanna go home and lay down, but I have another house sitting in like 3 days after this one is done. So, hooray. Chapter 1, we start with Gio, who is literally obsessed with her best friend, Mia. They're at a dive bar, and she looks at Mia as like, she has this kind of smile on where it's like someone who's clearly pretending to be fine, but they're not fine.
This is fine.
She's consoling her BFF, Mia, again after her BFF got her heart broken by yet another woman. But Mia's raising her glass and says to fresh starts. We learn that Mia is a high profile event planner. This is important for later, only bringing it up for that. I overall don't care what characters' jobs are, because if they don't add anything to the story, then I'm not interested, you know? Mia was freshly single, dumped by her latest girlfriend in a spectacular public implosion that had left her reputation bruised and her ego shattered. I'd been there to pick up the pieces like always, the best friend, the safe option. One she never saw looking at her like she was the whole damn world. I watched her laugh and pretend like she wasn't dying inside, and all I wanted to do was pull her into my arms and tell her she didn't need to fake it with me. But that wasn't my role. It never had been. So I understand that a lot of people fall for their BFFs, and that's totally fine. Happened to me, which was obviously a mistake. Guess I'm gonna go for a stranger next time, I guess. However, this becomes a problem later, in my opinion, for many reasons, and we're gonna have to go over it. I feel like it's mostly just how it's written, to be honest. But she's looking at Mia as like, God, she's beautiful. She's just pining her little heart away. And Mia says, do me a favor. Or like, I need a favor. But my brain just thinks of Carrie the musical, which no one knows about. And like, do me a favor. Musical, high key, slaps. even though it's ridiculous. And Gio is like, what kind of favor? And Gio can't keep it in her pants, like literally every single protagonist of these books, because she just like can't stop thinking about kissing her. She can't stop thinking about being with her. And I'm just like, I want one book where people can think of something else. I know it's a romance book, but I feel like because you decided they were BFFs for forever, for real, that means that you didn't have to actually do any of the build up. And that would be fine if I cared about these characters, I cared about their relationship, but I don't, because I think that they're both kind of terrible, and we'll get there. And Mia's like, I need you to be my date for the Valentine's gala, please. And Gio's like, kind of losing it. And it's like, you want me to be your date? And she's like, my fake date. Yeah, it's just for show. You know how people talk. I can't show up alone. Not after everything. Besides, my mother thinks I'm showing up with somebody that I'm completely and totally in love with. Who better to bring than my best friend? And I'm just like, I think that this was always a recipe for disaster. But at the same time, I can't really blame Mia for wanting her best friend to come with her. Like, I don't know. We'll get there. But Gio's like, sure, Mia, anything for you. And then their fingers brush against each other and it's electric. Because it's always electric. I'm sick of it. It's electric. Boogie, woogie, woogie. Like, I'm fucking sick of it. Think of something else to write. It doesn't actually feel like electricity. Have you ever gotten shocked? Even just like static shock. It doesn't feel like that. Like, I understand what we're trying to say. But every single romance book does the same goddamn thing. It's literally, to me, it feels like they put all of the same words, shake it in a blender, pop it out, somehow it still ends up in the same order. They just mad-libbed their characters' names in, and I'm really tired of it. I think it's exhausting, and I think it's stupid. And Gio really wants to tell her the truth, but she can't do it, because these characters can never do it. Page break. It's later that night, and Mia is now drunk, and Gio is helping her get around because she's drunk. She's like, Gio, I'm fine. And she's like, sure you are, princess. And she puts Mia in Mia's own bed because they're back at Mia's place. And Gio helps get Mia out of her clothes and puts her in nice comfy pajamas. Now, since they have an established relationship, this would be fine, except I do have problems with this because I fear that if you are just creeping on your best friend, which again, having a crush is fine, it's whatever, being in love with them is fine, it's whatever. But I feel like when you're sexually into them and they don't know that, and you're taking off their clothes without explicit permission because their capacity to consent to anything is deeply affected, that's when it gets weird. Like, Shelby, you're making a mountain out of a molehill. No, I'm not, because this book is about to get awful really fast, okay? Mia was always soft and always smelled of some fancy ass perfume. She made everything smell good. That's why I was struggling not to let my lips trace every line of her body, curve of her skin, scar, freckle, hills and valleys too. Maybe I've had too much whiskey because I couldn't think of a single reason why I shouldn't her. Well, other than her being passed out cold suddenly, I sighed, taking that as a sign. Not tonight. You were both drunk as skunks, and I understand that when you're both drunk and everyone's capacity is diminished, that's when things start getting weird. That's when the dub con is kind of happening. But like, I think it's fucking weird that you're clearly a lot less wasted than she is, and you're like, I wish I could just have my way with her right now, and the only thing stopping me is that she is passed out, I guess. And I'm like, so if she was drunk but not passed out, that's fine. No, it isn't. And I know that thoughts and actions are not the same, but it is always such torture. It is always such bullshit to be stuck in these characters' heads when they are weird, like when they are obsessed with somebody, you know? I just think it's weird, and I just think because of the rest of the book, I hate it. I just think because, like, if this had been like a one and done kind of thought, this had been a one and done kind of thing, I think I would have let it go, because I know like sometimes you think things and they're intrusive, you don't actually mean them, but it's the way that this character is written as a whole that makes me feel like this is a deep problem, okay? She leaves Mia on the bedside table a glass of water and some painkillers. I think that if she's really this drunk, you need to stay, honestly. I know everybody has like some diminished capacity, but I do think that you need to like stay the night. I don't think you can just leave ibuprofen and some water because she could like choke on her own vomit. I know that like people are like, oh, she's an adult, she should be able to handle herself. That's not how that works. It's really well and truly not, okay? And Gio brushes her fingers on a stray curl on her forehead or some It's like, why couldn't you be mine? I just feel like this character's very entitled, and we'll get to it. I know that I'm already fired up. I'm already at 1,000. I don't really care. I haven't really been able to talk. Like, my work bestie has been trying to call me. I haven't been able to talk. So like, I've just been holding all these thoughts in. But she gives her a soft kiss on the forehead and says, "Good night, princess." And then I slipped out of the room, leaving my heart behind with her like I always did. Chapter 2, Gio still. Hooray. I can't tell if Gio actually left the apartment. It's very unclear. But the next morning, she's sitting at the end of Mia's bed. I'd done everything I could to make sure she was comfortable. After getting her into bed, I'd placed water and aspirin on the nightstand, put on her favorite pajamas, tucked her in like she was something fragile, something precious. I'd whispered words she'd never hear, confessions I was too much of a coward to make when she was awake. I'd kissed her forehead, lingering just a little too long, wishing things were different. And I wrote, yes, we were there. Like, I don't understand why we're always repeating ourselves in these books. I don't need you to be like a Netflix recap where you're telling me what happened last season. I don't need that. Thank you. I have a perfectly working brain. Thanks. So yeah, I think she didn't leave. I don't know. It's not exactly clear to me because I don't know why you would end the last chapter with, "Then I slipped out of the room, leaving my heart behind with her like I always did." But then she's literally still in her apartment the next morning, or she came back, but it's a little unclear. And she's like, "I should leave, but I can't." And I'm just like, okay, but like, did you or didn't you in the first place? Because it was a little confusing. Tell me what people are actually doing instead of just like saying everything about how they feel. Like, oh my god, and it's never showing you, it's always telling you, you know? Like, it's always telling. Just show me something for once. But don't worry, Gio needs her dose of her smile before she leaves, her daily hit, because she makes her days better, blah, 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 blah. Can we ever see any of that? No. Because to me, it just seems like she torments you by existing. But she's making some coffee in Mia's apartment. Then she hears Mia's waking up because there's like groaning. She's not thrilled. And she makes Mia's coffee the way she likes it, which is nice, I suppose. But everything has to be dramatic. So when she says morning, keeping my voice light, casual, like my heart wasn't threatening to break free from my chest. Not everything has to be this high stakes, okay? But whatever. She's like, "Morning, Gio." If you hear squeaking, I'm sorry. I'm gonna try to edit everything. But the dogs are nuts and I wanna go home so bad. One more day, I can do it. And Mia praises Gio for doing the bare minimum, which is like, "I love that you always greet me with a proper hello." Some people don't realize how much it says about a person when they don't. Maybe some people are autistic, or maybe some people who aren't even neurodivergent realize that sometimes these neurotypical niceties are just stupid. They're stupid and they don't mean anything. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I know that we're trying to get at of like, oh, it's so polite, it's so nice, it's blah, blah, blah. Shut up. I don't feel like it is. And I also feel like it's the literal bare minimum. Why are we accepting less from people all the time? Like, cashiers are forced to say hi to people. Why are we acting like people don't walk around all day, every day saying, "Hi, how are ya? How you doing? Hi." Like, shut the up. Sorry, I'm extra fired up today. And Gio's like, "I hadn't thought of that." I'm like, yeah, because it's a weird thought to have, in my opinion. I don't know. I'm just sick of... Mia's like, "You're a lifesaver." And Gio's like, "You do the same for me." I'm like, no, I don't think she would. I don't think she would, and I think we're gonna see that a lot. Then Mia is like, "What are the plans for the day?" And Gio is an artist, like an actual painter who's trying to figure out some work for the gala that's coming up because she wants to be accepted into the showcase, what have you. And then Mia, who is a deeply insecure person, is like, "I don't even know why you put up with me." And I'm just like, I don't understand why we're like this. I don't understand why in every single book women have to be insecure or make themselves smaller or make themselves like not believe that people actually care about them. Like, it's so deeply annoying, and I know that a lot of people feel that way, but why does it have to be every single book? It cannot be every person on planet Earth who feels this way. It can't. So I'm just sick of it. Write something else. Oh my god. And Gio's like, "You're not a mess, you're figuring things out." It's the same crap every book. And Gio wants to argue with her some more, but why? It's stuck in her throat or whatever. And Mia's like, "I'm really glad you're coming to the gala with me. Like, I don't think I could do it alone." And Gio's like, "You won't be alone. I'll be right there beside you." Yep, okay. It's like, you always are. Do you think your pieces are ready for the showcase? And Gio's like, I don't know. Well, I think your work is magnificent. You could be even better if you stop doubting yourself. There's one thing about us that isn't a mess. It's our talent. I'm an event planner extraordinaire, and you're the best artist on the planet. I just wished you believed it as much as I do. And it's like, I hate this. To me, in my opinion, it feels like performative gassing people up. It feels like we're just trying to get people to compliment us all the time. It's not for me, and if you like it, good for you. It's not even that I hate it on principle. It's that, like, so many of these books are just filled with deeply insecure people, but the insecurities never actually get worked on. They just act like getting dicked down is what solves your insecurities, and that's not true. It's not. So, like, but Gio's having a hard time getting her art to sell. It's taking a toll on her, and Gio, near the end of the chapter, is finally like, I really should get going even though I don't want to. And Mia's like, do you have to? She's like, yeah, I gotta paint, but I'll see you later. She's like, thank you, Gio, for everything. And Gio's like, yeah, no problem. And we have to repeat ourselves again at the end of this chapter. And with that, I stepped out into the bright morning, leaving a piece of my heart behind in her bedroom. Yes, we know. Can we, like, say something else? Can we say a different combination of words that don't mean the exact same things as what you said at the end of the last chapter? That would be really cool. Chapter 3, we're still with Gio. I'm sick of it. She brought her stuff to some gallery, and she's meeting the gala owner named Evelyn, and this woman doesn't bother with pleasantries, thank God. But she's looking at the painting, she's being all silent, and she's like, you've definitely got talent, there's no doubt about that. And Gio feels relieved. She's like, but I don't see anything here that I love, which is like, oop. And Gio's trying to keep her face really neutral, but the words hit her harder than she expected. And Evelyn says, if you can come up with something in the next few weeks, a focal piece, then I will consider putting you in the next show. And Gio's like, I don't know if I'm ready. Then why are you showing all this? Like, why are you doing it? I don't. And Evelyn's like, you're never gonna feel ready, but sometimes you just have to do it. I'm gonna store these in the back because I know that you're gonna come up with something. You're very gifted, and these paintings are examples of you holding back. And I'm like, I don't know how you would know that, but go off, okay? I want to see you unleash all that energy onto a deserving canvas. Okay, I went to art school, and I really didn't like being with the fine arts kids. I really didn't. They were kind of the worst. But I don't feel like anybody says this. And, like, I had to have crits from fine arts professors multiple times, like every year. It was, you know, it was what it was. They never said that kind of stuff. They were just like, oh, I don't like this, or I like that, or whatever. Like, or the technique is like, oh, that. Like, there was really no, like, you're holding back. Like, it's such an amorphous concept of, like, how do you know? You weren't there. You don't know me as a person. You're supposed to just be looking at the artwork. But I feel like because we always act like artists are just these tortured geniuses who need an extra push, and it's all emotional. It's all like, oh my God, that's another thing that gets to me. And that's something I really had to unlearn. I'm going to talk about it quick. Is that, like, again, it feels like they have this idea that artists are all emotional, or all these, like, damaged people who are also just, like, killed by certain vibes. So, like, if you're not inspired, if you're not feeling amazing right that second, then, like, you're not going to be making art. But the reality of the planet is if you wait until you feel inspired every single time, you're never going to get anything done. Not a single animated movie would be made. Not a single video game would be made. Not a single TV show, album, whatever. Like, nothing would get done. So, like, I can't stand it. I really hate how we treat art like it's this talent that people just innately have. It's not. It's a bunch of skills that you can learn for yourself if you want. And it's just, I'm like, I don't like when we talk about it in these, like, weird, emotional, but also very amorphous ways that don't make a whole lot of sense. That's my opinion. But Gio is not sure that she's ready for all of this. Don't worry. Can't not think about Mia for 5 seconds. As I drove home, my thoughts drifted back to Mia, to the way her hand felt in mine, to the way her eyes searched my face like she was looking for something she couldn't quite name. Maybe she wasn't the only one pretending. Pretending what? Does that have to do with your art? I don't understand why we try to connect things that don't have, like, an actual connection, in my opinion. I think we try to make things more profound by trying to make it seem like things are connected that aren't. That's my opinion. Chapter 4, Mia, finally. Mia has a missed call from her mom. She has to call her mom. And her mom is very, like, kind of overbearing. It's like, I was beginning to think you thought, like, you forgot about your own mother. And I'm just like, I don't know how you can say that, but okay. She's like, so when are you finally going to settle down? She asked without missing a beat. I met this wonderful young man at the club the other day, successful, handsome, from a good family. I told him all about you. And Mia's like, Mom, we talked about this. And she's like, you're not getting any younger, Mia. It's time to think about your future. And she's like, I'm doing fine, Mom, and I don't need you to set me up, okay? Her mom is clearly disappointed. She's like, I just want you to be happy. She's like, I am happy. And then finally, with some conversation we don't get to see, she hangs up. But instead of thinking too long about how, you know, she doesn't want someone who will change her, she wants someone who loves her for her, she thinks about Gio, because these books are obvious. And she thinks about all these wonderful qualities from Gio, and then she goes, why can't I just find someone with the kind of sincerity and compassion that just isn't Gio? But Mia is a deeply insecure person, and she wonders, like, what if I'm not enough? What if I would scare them away? Blah, blah, blah. Gio wasn't just a friend. She was the one person who made me feel like maybe, just maybe, I wasn't as broken as I thought. And that scared me more than anything, because we're friends and I never wanted to do anything to damage what we had. That meant making sure that nothing ever happened between us. And I think that, like, having distinct boundaries around your relationships is important, but I think, unfortunately, because of the way this book is written, like, I can't root for Gio even if I wanted to, even though I do love best friends who secretly kind of are in love with each other. I can't get down because Gio, I feel, is an entitled weirdo. We'll get there. Mia takes a shower, so riveting, and then she calls Gia to be like, what are you wearing to the gala? She pulls out a suit and she's like, ouch, Mama, that looks more like a work suit than for a gala. Gio, maybe something more subtle. It's nice. It's the best I got. He raised an eyebrow. You want me in a dress? No, you don't have to go full tux though. Just something that blends a little more. Maybe we need to get you another, she joked. Yeah, look, I need to go, Gia huffed before hanging up the phone. What was that about? I looked at the blank screen, wondering how that conversation just went sour. What is she not telling me? I mean, she probably doesn't have fucking money for a new suit for this fake date that you're making her go to. Chapter 5, Gio, because we can't get much of a break, can we? No. And Gio's kind of upset because she's like, I know she wants me to dial it back, but that's just not me. Like, I'm not subtle. I can't afford anything new. Still, her words lingered like a weight on my chest. I wanted to make her happy. Hell, I wanted to be someone she could be proud to stand next to at the gala. But I wasn't sure I could compromise who I was, not even for her. Like, well, then don't. Like, if you guys are not a good fit, then you're not a good fit. And I really don't understand why you want to force it. Like, it just, And then her brother Salvatore is calling her. And she's like, my brother calling me never means anything good, but ignoring him doesn't work either. And he's like, hey, I need a favor. Do me a favor. And she's like, Sal, I don't have money. He's like, no, listen. There's this job. Like, it'll be quick. It'll be easy. You drive. I look out. That's it. It's 20 grand each, Gio. Like, it's great. And while Gio's like, 20 grand would solve a lot of problems, I don't really want to do any more crime shit. But I'd done time before: theft, grand larceny, 3 years in a cell that I swore I'd never see again. My family raised me in that life. Fast money, no rules. So there is like a crime element to this one, but I feel like it kind of comes out of nowhere, and it's literally just to kind of make more tension happen. But there is no tension because these two people are secretly in love with each other, even though they're not great people. And like, I don't know why we added the crime. And she's like, Sal, I really can't. And he's like, please, please. It's like, it's easy money. It's just one job. No one's gonna get hurt. And she closes her eyes, and she's tried very hard to distance herself from her family's mess. And she says, I'll think about it. But it says that she's lying. And he's like, that's all I'm asking. And then he hangs up. And she's tempted by the money, but the risk is too much. And she thinks about Mia, and she's like, she doesn't even know the parts of me I fought to keep buried. I'm like, then is she actually your best friend? I think no. Like, I'm not saying that you never keep some things from your best friend, but like, this I feel like is a huge part of your life. So I do feel like it's weird to just be like, I'm like, stop it. Stop this. And she thinks to herself again, I'm not gonna do it. I can't do it. She's like, I know 20 grand is a lot to walk away from. I know how badly I need it. She's late on rent and she has overdue bills. Chapter 6, Gio. Ava, her friend, just walks into the apartment while Gio is painting, or staring at a blank canvas at the very least. But also, Ava is convinced that she's Gio's best friend, so like, who is your actual best friend? I don't know. And she's like, okay, did Evelyn put you in the showcase or what? And she hesitates and she's like, oh shit, minute, Gio. Like, what happened? She's like, she liked the pieces, said I got talent, but she didn't love anything, yada yada. It's like, well, that's not a no. So show me what else you got. And Gio's like, well, it feels like a no. You always do this. You get close to something good and pull back before you give yourself a real chance. Right when you're about to go all in and give it a shot, you pull back and hide. You build walls to keep happiness out. That's sad. Truly, truly sad. And then Ava's like, and don't even get me started about Mia. And she's just like, what about Mia? And Ava is giving her a don't play dumb look. Like, she's your fake date to this gala, and I know you're stressing over what to wear. She's like, Mia told you? And she's just like, she didn't have to. Like, I know you. You want to wear one of your sharp suits, and she wants you to tone it down, right? And I'm like, Ava seems like your actual best friend, so like, I don't understand why we're pretending that Mia is, except that you want to get in her pants. And she's like, yeah, something like that. And Ava's like, is that really what's bothering you? And she tells her that her brother called. She's like, what does he want? And she tells her about the you know, 20 grand. And she's like, Gio, you have already done time. You know where this leads. She's like, I know, but I'm broke, Ava. I can't even buy a goddamn suit. And I don't want to embarrass Mia. And I'm just like, again, Ava's your real best friend. Mia, you just want to rail. That's the facts, homie. And Ava is like, Mia doesn't care about the suit, she cares about you. And this isn't you. You left this life behind for a reason. And she's like, hey, in the showcase, you've got another shot. You just need to stop running from things. And Gio, because character development is an easy thing to do, apparently, is like, you know what, I am running. I have been running. And Ava's like, I know you got this. Believe it. And she's like, hey, I'm gonna call around for you. I'm gonna see if there's something you can wear. And if that doesn't work, I'll ask Amir, which is Ava's girlfriend. She's like, she's got some stuff that would look great on you and it's still your style, just more polished. And Gio has only hung out with Amir a couple of times. It's like, she's cool, but I don't know if she'll let me borrow her clothes. And Ava's like, and you're not doing that damn job for your brother. She's like, your art is the thing that matters. Stop running, yada yada. And Gio's trying to let her words sink in deeper. And as Ava's leaving, she grabs her bag and she's like, don't this up, Gio. You're better than that. Chapter 7, Mia. The gala's now only 48 hours away. Her phone is going crazy because she's the event planner. She's at work dealing with the florist because they're the wrong color, because she wanted blush, not this tacky ass pink. I'm like, okay, can we calm down a little? Mayhaps. And she thinks to herself perfection wasn't a goal, it was a requirement. Okay, I think that that's a lot, personally. This isn't somebody's wedding, for Christ's sake. Like, stop. Don't worry, she finally lets out a breath she hadn't realized she was holding, because we can't write anything new. She goes back to her apartment. She has a brand new haircut. There's like a sharp fade. It's a lot shorter, and she has like a really pretty gown, but she thinks that she feels like masculine almost. Would Gio even like this? A bitter laugh escaped me. Why did I care so much about what Gio thought? She was my girlfriend. She was my best friend, my anchor in a storm I didn't even know I was caught in. And yet the idea of walking into that gala and seeing disappointment flicker across her face gnawed at me more than I wanted to admit. So it's not a storm you didn't know where you were caught in if I'm in first person POV and you say that you know she's rescuing you from the storm. That's not how that works. But she knows that her mom is going to be like ridiculous and be like, you'll never find a husband looking like that with that short hair now. But Mia also thinks, I don't even date men, so I don't know why she thinks my knight in shining armor is just going to show up. And she's having a hard time because her mom's approval is a lifelong thing that she's chased, but it doesn't really seem like it to me because you don't agree with her about anything. Okay. Also, she thinks for some reason Gio is different though. Why was that the case? I never fussed like this when I went out with Ava. I'm like, I'm just like, I hate the not like other girls. I know that we're trying to say someone's special, but there has to be a different way to say it. There has to be, right? Like, I'm not delusional, whatever. But Gio's calling because there's a lot of calling in this book. And Mia goes into all the things that are going wrong at the event. And Gio is like, you didn't make a mistake. I can't even see you. And I know you're beautiful, especially about the hair. And she's like, thanks. It's been a hell of a day. And Gio's like, is there anything I can do? And she's like, you're already doing it. And they're gonna meet there an hour before it stops. Princess, stop worrying about things that already are perfect. Hair, dress, shoes, makeup. You're going to be the most beautiful woman there. Now go back to getting your things ready for tomorrow so you don't forget anything. Oh, and don't forget that thing that you need to write down that you're gonna forget. I don't know what it is, but you do it for every event. Get yourself together, then get a glass of wine and go over your notes and you'll feel grounded. She's like, okay, good night, Gio. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Thank you for calling. And I'm like, you guys are like attached at the hip. I don't understand this. When the call ended and the silence crept check back in, I was left alone with my reflection and the realization that maybe, just maybe, I wanted Gio to see me as more than just her best friend. Didn't have time to think about that though. It was time to put the energy into myself. Chapter 8, Gio. They're now at the gala, and don't worry, Gio loves her new haircut. Good for her. This is when it starts to get actually annoying. Like, the other stuff is just like me being extra. This was me deciding that tonight, no matter what Mia thought, this fake date wasn't fake for me. I was going to live out every goddamn fantasy I had about her, even if it burned me alive in the end. No matter what this really was, tonight Mia was mine, and she was going to feel what it meant for me to be hers. Fuck the part about this being a ruse for her mother. Tonight we were a couple. Whatever tomorrow brought, I deal with that then. I decided to wear Ava's words as a badge of honor. I deserve whatever I deemed was for me. Hiding was for cowards, and I wasn't that. And I think that that's gross, because I love fake dating, because I feel like you're dancing around each other, you're having to get consent for things. You might even start practicing, whatever it may be. But Gio has just decided, nah, this is real because I said so. We're together because I said so. Yeah, that's not how that works. No, and it just feels like a weird entitlement that I see from like men in books, and I just can't get behind it. I truly can't. But she kisses the back of Mia's neck and wraps her arms around her waist. And also we learn here that Mia is curvy. Good for her. They mean actually plus size, which is nice for once, but still. Also, these people are finally of normal height, so I do have to compliment it. Mia's 5'6" and Gio's 5'9". Fine. Finally, some normal heights. She's like, princess, you look breathtaking, and they're all ready to go. We fly through the talking to guests and other stuff, because that's not what we're really here for. We're here to be horny. We're not here to learn anything about these people as actual people, except that they're insecure, bro. Mia has to do a speech. We don't get to hear any of that either. She wants to kiss her real bad. Also, Gio is a nickname for Julia, and Mia's mom's like, hello Julia, I didn't know I'd be seeing you tonight, and I didn't realize you two were a couple. Mia didn't tell me you were her +1 tonight. And she's like, like, she's not happy about it. She's like, I can't wait for Mia to settle down with a nice man and give me some grandbabies. Then she'll have the perfect life, career, and family. Then maybe she won't decide to suddenly cut off all her hair in an emotional fit. And Gio gets angry about this immediately. Is like, her hair is beautiful. I love how it complements her face. I smiled at Mia and was rewarded with a blush that had me ready to take her home. I wanted more of that. When Mia and I are ready for children, I said, my voice calm but laced with steel as I turned back in her direction. The only part a man will play is being the sperm donor. And look, that would be fine, but you guys aren't actually dating. So like, I think that this is wild. But her mom is just flabbergasted and just doesn't say anything and turns around and walks away. But don't worry, Gio has to think some dark romance edgelord crap. Protection wasn't just a word with me. It was instinct. Nobody talked to my woman that way. I'm like, she's not your woman, and like, I'm sick of it. What? Delusional. She tugs Mia to the dance floor, and Mia wants to slip away, and so Gio grabs her wrist, pulls her back in her arms, is like, not so fast, and like, I think that's disgusting. I hate when men do it in books, so why the hell would I like it when you do, okay? Then she starts gassing up Mia, telling her she's incredible, don't let people steal your joy, blah, blah, blah. And then she kisses Mia, and it's intense, raw, and then Mia's kissing her back. Their tongues are dancing together. It's just not how that works. I know that we're trying to describe things in an artsy-fartsy way, but like, that's not what I imagine. She wants to hear Mia scream, beg, and shout her name. Hooray. She wants to see if she tasted as sweet as I hope she would. It's the same. It's the same shit every single time. And like, I understand why we write it, but I'm tired, fam. Are you liking still slightly sick Shelby, who's done with the world? They pull apart, they don't say anything, they just stare at each other. And then they're slow dancing, swaying like it's a middle school dance. And Gio thinks to herself, I'm not letting Mia slip through my fingers. I just feel like it's a crazy entitlement, but okay. Chapter 9, Mia. And Mia can't stop thinking about the kiss because these books are all the same. And she thinks about the suit. The suit she'd wore hugged her frame perfectly, tailored in all the right places, but it was the sequin bustier under her blazer that had me spiraling. It caught the light every time she moved, giving her this magnetic mix of masculine edge and feminine allure that was impossible to ignore. Trust me. And I just wrote, trust me, bro. She thinks about how she should be focused on the gala, but she can't think about anything else but the kiss. She thinks about her mom saying that messed up shit and then Gio's saying it, we were there, I don't need you to reiterate, this isn't processing in an okay way for me. Had left my mother speechless and me, ... feeling things I wasn't prepared for. Me seeing a future with her and our children. Me as her wife, not as her best friend, but everything more. And Mia just feels very confused about everything that's going on. And once the gala is finally done, she's like, come back to my place, Gio. Gio's like, are you sure about that? She's like, yeah, we'll have some drinks, celebrate, you know, fake date stuff. And Gio chuckles about it. But there's something in her eyes saying she's not playing the same game anymore. And I'm like, yes, I'm here for this whole book. Thank you for that. And the car ride to her place is a blur. She keeps stealing glances at Gio. When they get back, she's like, whiskey or wine? And Gio's like, whiskey. And Mia thinks, I knew it. I'm like, okay, you like disgusting drinks. We get it. And then Gio is telling Mia she's amazing again because we have to just gas her up. Like, I feel like we don't get to it, but in my opinion, what makes this book gross is the idea of your best friend secretly waiting around the corner like a little creeper waiting for a chance to bang you. And I feel like when it's men, we talk about how betraying that feels, especially when you didn't want anything, but when it comes to other women, we're like, oh, it's fine. No, it isn't. I don't like the idea of some entitled creeper running around thinking to themselves, I'm gonna force this to happen. No matter what Mia thinks, I'm gonna do this. Like, no, get out of here with that. You don't respect women either. You view women as property. And I think that's odd. But Mia's scared, but she wants her so bad. The air feels thicker. Like, okay. And Mia's like, so you're really leading into this whole fake date, huh? And Gio's like, I told you, I'm treating this like it's real. I couldn't fake that if I tried. And Mia's like, I should laugh it off, tease her back, but the words caught in my throat because it didn't feel fake anymore. And she sets her glass down and Gio's like, are you okay? And she's like, yeah, it's just a lot, you know? And again, she's like, you're incredible tonight. Blah, 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 blah. Like, it's the same crap. And Gio's like, I don't think they get to see all of you. Like, I see you, the real you, the one that's brilliant, stubborn, and beautiful, and terrified of letting anyone get too close. And I'm like, yes, because it's a gala, and these people that are at the event that she organized for work don't want to see all of her. They don't need to. Like, I don't understand why we always do this. Like, no one gets you like I do, baby girl. Like, I hope not. I hope that the lady behind her in the line at the supermarket doesn't know her like you do. I hope that the people at the gala event she did for work don't know her like you do, because if they did, that would be alarming. And then they both lean in and they give a little kiss, and it's slower and softer, but it's still intense. And when they pull apart, Mia's like, this doesn't feel fake, like probably more real. And Gio's like, it doesn't feel fake to me either. And then Mia's like, and then just like that, something shifted between us, and the walls I'd carefully built started to crumble. I wasn't sure if I wanted to rebuild them. And they hang out all night, they're laughing, they're drinking, but now there's something new. So much tension that you need a chainsaw. Shut up. And then Gio's standing up to finally leave, and Mia doesn't want her to go, but she just walks her to the door, and Gio gives her a little kiss on the cheek, and she's just like, but one thing is for sure, I'm not looking at Gio the same anymore. But then Gio comes back and knocks on the door, and Mia is like, did you forget something? And Gio's like, yeah. And she starts kissing Mia very passionately, and the lips are crashing together, blah blah blah. She's kissing me like she's starving. It just sounds like gobbledygook to me now, like, because I've read so many of these. I'm like, it doesn't mean anything to me, because there's no like real feelings, in my opinion. Like, you don't think of other things to describe things. You see everything that's common in the genre and you say the same exact things. You copy paste what other people say. Like, I can't deal with it. And then Mia's like, what was that? And Gio's like, that's what I forgot. And she's like kissing her jaw, and she's like, tell me to stop, Mia. She's like, but I didn't, I couldn't. And I'm like, I don't think I like the words tell me to stop. I don't think I'm into that personally. You can like whatever you want, guys, but I don't have to. But don't worry, Mia wants her right now. You don't know what you do to Gio, blah blah blah. I do not give a shit. Alright, let's see. They bang. I'm not gonna describe it to you. If you want to read it on your own time. There's a lot of good girl. There's a lot of other crap. Take it, whatever. It's the same shit, different day. I don't care. And that's the end of that chapter. Chapter 10, Mia. It's the morning. The light crept on in, and she's cuddling up with Gio, and she wants to like get out from under her arm. She's gonna leave, and Gio's like, where do you think you're going? And she's like, and then Gio like pins her wrists to her sides. She's like, stop hiding from me. And I'm like, I don't like this. I don't like this because you guys don't know each other. I mean, you do, but you don't. You know what I mean? Like, you had a very specific kind of relationship, and you decided that you wanted something more, even if you don't really care what Mia feels like. So I feel like you just started changing your relationship, and now you're grabbing her. You're grabbing her and being weird and trying to force sexy things, and I don't like it. And they're back to Pound Town, and don't worry, Gio didn't just make love to me, she claimed me. Every kiss, every touch, every whispered word was a declaration that left me trembling beneath her. I didn't feel the need to hide. I'm like, okay, if you say so. And then I hate this sentence. She spread my... What the fuck is this sentence? Okay, I'm gonna read it to you. Please know that this is how it is written. She spread the globes of my butt until she nipped and licked at the pucker there. What the fuck was that sentence? Number one. Editor who? Number two.
But I never entered the back door.
You can't just do that stuff without asking. Like, you can mess stuff up forever. Like, you need to poop. Like, you do. It's required for life. Like, And then I was really confused here because I thought assault happened. And I mean, I would kind of argue that this is an assault because she did not get consent at any point. But the specific part was Mia says, I need you to not stop. See, and then she says, please don't. But like, the double negative is confusing, okay, if you're just reading it at first glance. However, I do still think that this whole interaction started out as assault, in my opinion. And I do think not getting consent for backdoor activity, or really any activity, is assault. And I will stand by that. I know that some people don't feel the same as I do for whatever reason, but I don't care. I don't care. And Mia's thinking during this sexcapade that she can't go back to how they were before. Chapter 11, Mia, she wakes up and she's panicking this time. She's like, great, we had sex twice. I mean, I guess it depends on how you define sex. Do I agree? Not really. And Gio's still asleep next to her, and she looks peaceful and content, like she belongs here. A fresh wave of panic crashed over me. I couldn't call Gio and scream into the phone about what I'd done last night, because she was the one I'd done it with, my best friend. It was my issue with us. By crossing this line, I'd lost my best friend. What did this even mean? Had she always felt this way? Had she just been waiting for me to cave, to give in? Had she been toying with me all this time? See, this is my problem also, is I feel like this is so ungenuine. I feel like she was just waiting in the shadows like a little creeper to shoot her shot. And I don't like it. And I agree that it would feel very betraying to have this happen. Like, what? Especially in this way. You know what I mean? Like, it's different if you're like, hey, I'm in love with you. And then you're like, oh my god, actually I'm in love with you too. And then you start moaning. Whatever. That's not what happened. She's like, I decided this fake date is a real date and I'm gonna impose my will upon you. I'm gonna kind of low-key pressure things, in my opinion. That's my opinion! To happen. And then I'm just gonna like not let you think too hard about maybe I was just a creeper in the wings this whole time. Like, I can't be here for it, you know? And Mia thinks that sober her isn't really keen on this whole thing because of the optics, and I agree. And she's like, I need to go. And she's like, I am gonna get my purse and my phone, but actually, you know what? I need space, and Gio will call, she'll text, she'll expect something, and I need space. So she leaves them behind, she gets dressed, and she drives. She doesn't have any destination. She's replaying everything that happened last night. Had she really wanted me, or had I just been something to win? I think that these are all really good questions, and I'm really not a fan of what was going on in this story. And she's really spiraling, even though she loved the sex. And then Mia shows up at Ava's, you know, the real best friend of Gio's. And she's like, Mia, what the hell are you doing here? Because she's like all sleepy looking. And she just starts like freaking out the second she gets with Ava, and she's like, I don't know what to do. And Ava's like, tell me what happened. She's like, I slept with Gio. She's been into me this whole time, hasn't she? And she never said anything. Why didn't she say anything, Ava? What the hell am I supposed to do with this? Ava let out a slow breath, her expression unreadable. What do you want to do with it? I'm Ava level of done, by the way. She's like, I don't know. My voice cracked. My emotions tangled between hurt and confusion. I just feel like an idiot. Like she's been playing on this secret, playing the long game, just waiting for me to come around. She wasn't playing you, Mia. Ava's voice was gentle but firm. You know Gio. If she didn't say anything, she probably thought she had a damn good reason. And Mia's not doing well. She's just like, what the Also, I don't even think that's Mia saying it. It's Amir, Ava's girlfriend, who's just standing there with her arms crossed like the hell. And Ava's like, Amir, and Amir's just shaking her head. She's like, I'm gonna head out. I told Gio I'd swing by later. And Mia's like, wait, what? And Ava's like, they're gonna have a bros night to get to know each other better. And Amir's like, she just wants to hang, like have some drinks, shoot some pool. She wants to be friends. And for some reason, Mia's stomach twists about this, even though Amir is clearly not interested in this. And Amir says, I'm not getting in the middle of whatever this is. If we're gonna be cool, I don't want to hear anything that's gonna make me look at her different. And then she just leaves. And I'm like, you know what? Amir is kind of like an unbothered queen who's like, you know what? I don't need to know about any of this. And Ava is sighing and is just like, you need to figure out what you want, Mia, because running away isn't gonna fix this. And Mia knows that she's right, but she's like, I don't have a damn clue what to do with this. And then she's been sitting there for a while and Ava's like, okay, do you want to tell me what's really going on? And she's like, I did tell you. And she's like, no, you just said what happened. You didn't tell me what's really eating you up inside, Mia. And Mia's like, I don't really know, because one minute I was fine and then the next minute I was not. She's like, also I was happy. And Ava is like, so let me get this straight. You had a great night, you had amazing sex, you woke up happy, and your first instinct was to freak out and run. And she's like, when you say it like that, I sound crazy. And Ava's like, I mean, and I'm with Ava. And Ava is like, well, I mean, you said it, not me, kind of. And she's like, Mia, you do this when things start to feel too real. Like, you convince yourself there's a trap. So instead of seeing that, like, why don't you just see where it goes? And Mia's like, that's not fair. And I'm like, I think Ava's pretty good at reading all of y'all, actually. So I think she should say whatever she wants. She's like, you know I'm right. You fear rejection, so you run. She's like, and then you spiral out of control. She's like, okay, so tell me the truth. Why did you really leave? And she's like, because it was Gio. She's like, why is that such a bad thing? She's like, I don't know, because it's all contrived and stupid. She was like, I knew she was like flirting with me, but like I didn't think, like I thought that's just how she is, right? And Ava's like, are you fucking serious right now? She's like, she's been in love with you for years, Mia. She's just been waiting for you to see it. She's like, why didn't she say anything? It's the same stupid shit. And she's like, because she's not an idiot. She knew you weren't ready to hear it. That's what's messing you up, isn't it? Ava tilted her head. It's not that she slept with you. It's that she meant it. The words hit me like a punch to the gut because she was right. Last night wasn't just sex. Wasn't just a heat of the moment thing. Gio had been all in and I didn't know what to do with that since I was still figuring out my emotions. Again, she's still like, I don't know how to do this. I'm like, okay, this is such a boring way to do this. She's just like, I can't lose her. And she's like, then don't. But don't push her away just because you're scared either. Ava deserves like money, compensation for being y'all's fucking therapist. She's like, okay, take a deep breath, figure it out, but don't keep her waiting too long, Mia. And Mia knows she's right, but she doesn't know what to do, and she spends the rest of the day at Ava's place, curled up on the couch. And then she goes back to her apartment, and it's empty and quiet, and there's no note, no text, nothing. I left her here in my apartment like a bad decision that I wanted to disappear. I ran. I closed my eyes, exhaling sharply. This was what I wanted, right? Space, time to think. Then why did my chest feel so tight? Because this is stupid and contrived, that's why. Like, anyway, she can still smell her in there, which is gross. That sounds disgusting to me. So she goes to take a shower and she's like, I need to fix this. She tries to call and it goes to voicemail. She sends a text to Gio. It's like, can we talk? There's the little bubbles that indicate that she's typing back, but then they disappear. She doesn't send anything. And Mia thinks to herself, maybe she just needs space. Maybe she's pissed. Maybe I screwed this up beyond repair. And I'm like, yeah, maybe you did. I wish, because then this book would be over, but no. And now she just feels regret and like, and she's like, oh, she's not here because I run. And I'm like, yes, thank you. You're good at math. Chapter 12, Gio. Her phone is buzzing from unanswered messages and she just doesn't feel great. And Amir is like, I swear if you don't stop camping in that corner, I'm throwing this controller at your head, because they're trying to play video games. And Gio's like, you talk a big game for someone who just lost 4 rounds. She's like, whatever, man, you're cheating somehow. And I'm with Amir, you must be. Like, her phone buzzes again. It's the talk about Mia. And then eventually she's like, what do you want to talk about? And then she's calling and Amir's like, are you gonna answer that? And she shakes her head and she texts Mia back, is like, just text, I have company. And she's like, company? And she's like, yeah. And she's like, are you serious right now? And she's like, what does that even mean? And I'm like, you should have just said, I'm hanging out with Amir. She knows you're not sleeping with Amir because Amir's too hot for you. Like, and Amir's like, damn, you guys are having a lover's quarrel already. And Gio's like, shut up. And then they're arguing because Mia is clearly jealous, even though she was at Amir's house She watched Amir say, I'm gonna go hang out with Gio. She watched Amir leave the house after saying that. And she's like, who could Gio be with? That little slut? Somebody's with her. And I'm like, it's Amir, you dumb fuck. Obviously. Like, what are you talking about? It's like, you don't get to act like I'm the bad guy here, Mia. You walked away. I didn't chase you. That was your choice. And I'm like, yes, okay, finally, Jesus. And then there's no response. And she's just like, she tosses her phone on the couch. She's like, fuck this. And Amir's like, so that went well. Like, Amir's just like, damn, you're stressing. And she's like, shut up. She's like, hey, you look like you're gonna punch your phone. Like, and Amir's just like, are you okay though? Because you're acting weird. And she's like, I don't know. It feels like I let her get to me and I shouldn't have. And Amir's like, yeah, that's because you like her. And she's like, that's not the point. She's like, sure it's not. And Amir's phone buzzes and she's like, I'm out, see ya. And she's like, what kind of text was that, Amir? Like, is Ava sending you something special, like a naked selfie to motivate you to get your ass home? And Amir's like, if she did, do you think I'd tell you? And I'm like, I love Amir. And Gio is like, please, I know that look. And Amir's, instead of actually engaging with this, is just like, actually, you know what? I'm out. I'm like, I like Amir. What do you want? He wants to say his opinion on this book. Listen to me. What is your opinion? What is your opinion? He says that this is stupid. And Gio tries to be teasing and Amir's just like, worry about your own damn girl. I'm like, fair enough. And Gio's gonna work on some art shit, but yeah, that's the end of the chapter. She's about to start painting. Chapter 13, Mia. Mia is still freaking out about Gio, obviously, and she thinks to herself, I'm not the type to run from things. Not my job, not my mother, not my responsibilities, so why was I running away from her? And I'm like, that can't be true because Ava knows that you are a runner. You're a runner, bitch. So like, you're full of it. She goes over to Gio's apartment all dressed up because she's ready to do this. And Gio is like, what are you doing here, Mia? And she's like, we need to talk. And she's like, were you painting? And Gio's like, I needed to clear my head. And she's like, thanks because of me. And I'm like, yes, obviously.
Hey pal, you just blowing from Stupid Town?
She's like, I know I messed up. I panicked, Gio. And then I made it worse by leaving. And then worse again by... And Gio's like, I get it. She's like, you do? She's like, yeah, you had sex with your best friend and now you don't know how to handle it. She's like, that's not... She's like, that's exactly what it is, Mia. You were fine when we were fucking, but the second reality hit, you bolted. It's like, that's not fair. I didn't bolt because I regret it. I left because I was overwhelmed because I didn't know what any of it meant. And Gio's like, and you do now? And then she just opens her mouth and shuts it like a fish. And Gio's like, that's what I thought. What do you want me to say, Gio? That I woke up and everything made perfect sense? That suddenly I knew how to navigate this when I didn't even realize? She like, didn't even realize what? Like that maybe I wanted you before I even knew I did. She's like, so what now? And Mia's like, I don't know. She's like, that's not good enough, Mia. She's like, I know. And Gio's jaw is tense. Mia's all like, I don't have all the answers, but I'm not running anymore. And she's like, then what do you want? She's like, I don't know because it's complicated, but I want her. Blah, 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 blah. So can we just talk? And Gio's like, fine, talk then. It's like, I need to know something. How long? How long what? She's like, how long have you felt this way about me? She's like, do you really want to know? And Mia's like, yes, I do. I'm like, why are we just repeating? She's like, years. And I'm like, yeah, that just feels like a betrayal to me, but okay. It's like, what do you mean years? And she's like, I've wanted you to be mine for years. She's like, hers, why does that sound like music to my ears? Because you're a freak. Certified freak 7 days a week. She's like, why didn't you say something? And she's like, because I knew you never saw me that way and I wasn't about to ruin our friendship over some one-sided feeling. She's like, so what was last night? And she's like, last night you gave me an inch and I took it. Like, oh. And Gio obviously still thinks that this is one-sided. And Mia's like, I don't know what this is, but I felt something last night. Like, yes, we know. You felt some and something happening in your butt, like in your butthole. Like, I don't know what to tell you. She's like, the idea of losing you scares the hell out of me. And Gio's like, okay. She's like, okay. She's like, yeah, okay. We'll figure it out. She's like, yay, she's not shutting me down. And then Gio's kind of being a little gay. And Mia's like, I should probably go, but she doesn't move. And Gio's like, do you want to go? And she thinks, no, I don't. She's like, but I probably should. She's like, you're bad at lying. You know that, right? She's like, I'm not lying. And she's like, then stay. And Mia's like, I think I need to figure some more things out. And Gio's like, okay, fair enough. She's like, but I meant what I said about this not being one-sided. She's like, I'll talk to you later. And Gio's like, yeah, later. Because she's like, I feel like done. But I'm also like, you're the one who forced this, so shut up. And they give a little kiss and then she leaves. Chapter 14, Gio's like, I should have pulled her back in and made out with her. And I'm like, sex is not the solution to all problems. Sex is not the answer to all problems. I'm sick of it. And then she goes back to painting. Paint. Can't stop thinking about Mia while we're painting. Blah, blah, blah. Obviously, sex was also the answer to her financial problems and her art problems. Obviously, because sex is the answer to everything in this stupid American society. And you're like, no, Shelby, it's love. I'm like, where is the love? What do they actually like about each other other than they think they're hot and they want to hit? Because like, I've seen nothing so far. I've seen nothing. You didn't prove anything to me. She goes to bed after a page break and wakes up, and she thinks this, which I feel a certain type of way about. It was okay that I like her. Fine that I was in love with her. It wasn't cool to take advantage, ... I hated to say it that way because I hadn't forced her to have sex. I didn't take what wasn't already mine, but she was intoxicated, not thinking clearly the first time. So that is not consent. You said it. You said it right out on page 80. It's not consent, and you know it. And she says, I never should have let it happen. You didn't let it happen. You made it happen. It was never gonna happen if you weren't making it happen. So shut the f up. Right, she thinks like she hasn't reached out, but I can't even blame her. I'm like, yeah, because you're a creep. It's the whole picture. It's not the little things stacked. Like, it's the whole thing. It's all of the little pieces combined with the entire picture of who Gio is as a person that makes me hate this book. There's a lot of internal whinging, and I'm just not gonna bother with it for you guys. And she's doing more fucking painting until she's hungry, and then she goes back to work on more stuff. Thinks about how Mia hasn't like reached out, but Gio hasn't either. I'm like, yeah, because you both have fucking jobs theoretically. Bo is beating the heck out of that toy, and you know what? Picture that toy as Gio. He's a real one for beating up Gio, Jesus. But she needs her to see these paintings, so she texts her and is like, come see something. She hits send, and she doesn't expect an answer right back, but she answers, and she's like, now? She's like, yeah, if you want to. And Mia's like, okay, be there in 30. Like, how can you guys just do this in the middle of the day? Do you guys not actually work? Let me know in the comments. So she's gonna shower, eat, and, you know, maybe get her head on straight before Mia gets there. Mia's finally here. She's so hot. What else is new? Blah, blah, blah. They say, hey, it's awkward. She looks at the paintings. Mia's like, you've been busy. She's like, yeah, I got caught up in something. And Mia's like, something, or are you avoiding me? And she's like, yeah, it's both. And Mia's like, so why now? And I'm like, you're both avoiding each other because this never should have happened. This was dumb. And all of the paintings are of Mia, which feels very stalker weirdo to me. Feels stalker weirdo to me after you banged her when you've literally been in love with her for years, and she feels very betrayed. And Mia's just like, what is all of this? This is what happens when I don't try to stop myself from wanting you. This is what happens when I let my emotions flow. You make everything better for me. Everything worse. If you're not happy, my day is if you're in a great mood, you couldn't tell me nothing. I smiled. But though I used you as my model, the series is about me and my growing pains. I'm like, is it? Because I don't feel like it is. But Mia's just like flabbergasted. She's also like, you painted this in a little over a week. And she's just like, yeah. And Mia is like, why didn't you just tell me? This conversation is dumb. It's repeated. It's like, you never felt that way about me. And you ran away, blah, blah, blah. You had sex with me, then ran out. Like the whole thing was some kind of a mistake. So yeah, Mia, maybe I didn't feel like telling you how deep this goes for me. Maybe I didn't feel like making myself even more of a fool. Except that you were a cretin and a creep, so I don't care about your feelings. But Mia's like, it wasn't a mistake. And she's like, okay, then why did you leave? Because you blindsided me, Gio. Because I thought we were friends, and then suddenly you were kissing me like you owned me. Like you've been wanting to for years and just decided to take it. My stomach clenched. That's not what happened. Then tell me what did. You really don't get it, do you? This isn't new, Mia. This is years in the making. I've wanted you since before I even let myself think about it. I backed off when you dated other people. I swallowed it down when you talked about women like I didn't exist. And I stayed your damn friend because I'd rather have you that way than not at all. And I'm like, no, I still think that Mia was right. I think both things are true. I think just because you're like, no, this happened, this was for a long time, doesn't mean that you didn't also do the thing she just said about you blindsiding her and acting like you owned her. And she's like, you wanted honesty, so there it is. And Mia's like, what am I supposed to do with all of this? And I'm like, that's a really great question, because I feel like this is just like, when you confess to someone like this, I feel like you're either trying to get them to be with you because you secretly hope they feel the same way, or you just want them to feel bad or something. I don't know. Like, what kind of emotional labor could this possibly give you if she didn't actually want you? That's something I don't understand. And Gio's like, let yourself see me, not as your friend, not as some fake date to impress your mom, just me, just Gio. And Mia's like, and what if I can't? And Gio's like, okay, tell me now and I'll walk away then. And I kind of feel like this is like a very much all or nothing. Like, you need to want to be with me or we're done is kind of a up thing to say. You weren't actually besties then. You freak. I'm not saying it wouldn't be difficult. I'm not saying you wouldn't need to like take a break, but I am saying that it's absurd that you want everything. You want everything and you don't care what Mia wants. She's just like, Mia, say it. And she's like, say what? That you don't want me. And she's like, Gio. And she's just like, say it. And then no one's moving. And Mia's like, I don't know how to do this. It's like, you don't know how to do what? And it feels like the same shit over and over. We had this conversation with Ava. Write something else. Ugh. She's like, I don't know how to do this. And she was like, and you think I do? I've never done this either before. And she's like, that's not true. She's like, you think because I've been with women before, that means I know how to do this? That I know how to navigate us? I let out a slow breath. You're my best friend. I don't know how to be anything else to you. Like, that feels like a cop-out to me, but okay. And Mia's like, then maybe we shouldn't. And she's like, shouldn't what? And she's like, ruin this. She's like, I mean it. What if we can't go back? What if this breaks everything? You really think after everything we could ever go back to how it was before I asked? Because I don't. I know I can't. Not after I've touched you, tasted you, felt you, had you. And I'm like, ew, I hate this whole fucking thing. And she's like, I don't want to pretend, not with you. And Mia's like, I don't want that either. So Gio's like, stop fighting it. Tell me what's really going on in your head. I'm like, I feel like we've explained this to death. We've explained this to death. She's like, I feel like I'm losing control. Like the person I've always been is slipping away and I don't know who I am around you anymore. And it terrifies me. You don't have to be scared of me, Mia. I'm not scared of you. I'm scared of how much I want you. And I'm like, no, I'm scared of you, Gio, but okay. Let's stop running. Let yourself have this. Let us happen. And she's like, I don't know how. I'm like, just shut up and do it or don't. Shut up and do it or don't. I'm so sick of this. Shut up and do it or don't. And Gio's like, then let me show you. And Mia's like, okay. And then they're making out again. And then they're gonna bang. I'm pretty sure. So I won't do this lightly, Mia. Not with you. I'm here because I want to be. Because I choose you. They're kissing again. Pressed against the wall. And then she carried her to the bedroom. Thank God we don't have to see it again. Chapter 15, Mia. They didn't actually have sex, apparently. Okay, that's why we didn't see it. Ugh. Gio was beside herself, convinced that she was going to brand me so thoroughly that I'd see reason, leave the doubt behind, and claim her in the ways that she'd claimed me. Wasn't ready for that. She understood, but explained that she was going to let up. And Mia has this thought of like, maybe she's really getting to me because I miss her already. And I'm like, I really think it's odd that we're framing it this way. I don't actually feel like Mia has a good or meaningful choice because I feel that Gio is leveraging their friendship that means a lot to her against her. I don't know how to feel about it. But Gio's up and painting, I guess. And Mia goes back to sleep. Page break. She wakes up. There's food. Keep forgetting Gio is Italian. And she's like, buongiorno. I'm like, okay. But then she's like, princess. I'm like, you couldn't even say princess in Italian. Rude. Probably something stupid, like princessa. Like, Italian's fun though. But there's breakfast, a handwritten card, a bouquet of flowers because it's Valentine's Day. She made her breakfast. Gio's like, of course it's a special occasion, isn't it? And it's delicious. And then she finally opens the card. Cheesy store-bought Valentine's card with 2 cartoon dinosaurs holding hands, which sounds adorable and I love it. Thank you. And in the card, it's... oh my god. It's like, Mia, I know that things are still confusing, but we'll figure it out together. I do know that I want this day to be good for you. That you deserve a day where you don't stress, where you just enjoy yourself. Let me make that happen for you. Let me take care of you. Happy Valentine's Day. And I'm like, that would be nice if you weren't a creeper. Like, and she was like, I don't want to make it a big deal. Like, don't make it a big deal. It's just a card. And she's like, just a card, just a breakfast in bed, just a bouquet of roses, just a morning spent painting before coming in here, looking at me like I was the most important thing in the world. Like, if you don't want this, just say it now. I'm sick of the flip-flopping. Shut up. Like, spend the day with me. And she's like, yeah, I think I'd like that. She's like, I gotta go take care of some business, honey, but I will be back in 90 minutes or so. Go to your house and get ready, Mia, and then I'll pick you up. She's like, where do you have to go? And she's like, I just have an errand. It's not a big deal. She's like, 90 minutes. She's like, go home, get dressed, and be ready for me. And she's like, bossy. And Gio's like, you like it. I'm like, I don't think so. In a meaningful way that makes me think that she actually likes this. Also, I'm mad that you saw my my chicken arm flap. Rude. Like, that's how fired up I am. Chapter 16, Geo. Geo's going to the gallery. She has a whole bunch of paintings and shit. She brought 7 with her. She brings them in. She just walks in Evelyn's office though, even though there's a bunch of people talking in there, and I think that's rude. And she goes to Evelyn. She's like, I get it now. And she's like, you told me I wasn't giving enough, that what I was doing wasn't enough. And she's like, this is what more looks like. And Evelyn looks at them and then is like, now we have something to talk about. I'm like, okay. And then Evelyn hands her an advance check, which I don't think galleries do. I mean, maybe somewhere, but I was forced to like be around all the studio art kids and all this other stuff, and like galleries really take advantage of artists. So like, not all of them, I want to say that as a blanket statement, but a lot of them take advantage of artists. So like, I just don't care about this. Like, I don't believe it. It's not realistic. It doesn't have, like, if you're gonna write about a career you know nothing about, could you at least look it up? I don't know. But she's excited because the check is validation that she's doing something right. And she leaves and she deposits it. Then she takes care of business. She pays off some bills. She threw half of what was left into her savings. Responsible stuff, good for her. And she's like, I'm ready for Mia. She's like, I have the next 8 hours planned. She's like, and then tonight I'm gonna have my favorite dessert, Mia. Stop it, shut up, I hate this shit. She gets home, she showers and scrubs herself because she's covered in paint, but she feels great, rejuvenated, fam. She's looking for something that will make it impossible for Mia to take her eyes off her. She's getting her keys, she's getting ready, she stops at the liquor store first, she picks up a bottle of red wine that she knows that Mia likes, and she goes to the bakery downtown, she grabs some chocolate mousse cake, she gets home, she puts this stuff away, she checks the time, she's almost ready, and she grabs her phone, she sends her a message. Well, she's like, to Mia, she's like, where are you, beautiful? She's like, almost ready, be patient. And she's like, okay, I'm gonna be there in 10. And Mia's like, where are we going? And she's like, you'll see. They go to this restaurant and there's this singer that Mia really likes who is singing there. And Mia's like, you remembered I like her? And she's like, of course I did. And then she takes her to meet Audrey Nicole, the singer. And Mia is so excited about this. And then the guy is like, hey, she's expecting you, Geo. And Mia's like, she's what now? They meet her. They introduce Mia. They say, hi, how are you? And she was like, she's an event planner. She's the best one. Audrey's like, that's really cool. Like, do you want an autograph? And Mia's like, yes. And then they want a picture and they get a picture. And they're like, damn, we look good. And she tells Mia, hey, like, you've got a good one. And Gio's like, she's starting to figure that out. I'm like, okay, if you say so. And then they leave and she's like, how do you know Audrey Nicole? And apparently they ran in the same circles for a little bit back when Gio was doing commercial work. She got invited to industry parties, she met her, blah, blah, blah. And Audrey's like, hey, you're still doing all that stuff? And Gio's like, not really, not anymore. Like, I'm trying to focus on my work these days. And Audrey's like, good, because you're too talented to be at parties. And she's like, okay, how'd you get tangled up with Mia though? And she's like, she's special. She's like, you guys sticking around for the rest of the show? And they're like, yes, of course, like, we're here for it. Chapter 17, Gio. They're done with the concert venue. Now they're going to more places. What time of day is this all happening at? I don't know. They're going to an Italian restaurant to get appetizers and cocktails. Now this is an interesting idea where they're going to different restaurants for different courses, which is like an interesting idea, unironically. And at that first place, the Italian one, Mia's gonna have a Negroni Spagliato with a little bit of Prosecco in it. No, just a Negroni. You don't get old gay memes, I don't get you. And they're gonna start asking questions on these like cards or whatever as part of the date, like at every place they're going to. And that would be fun if like I didn't hate everything about their relationship as a whole. One thing that like, they're like, who would you switch lives with if you could switch lives with someone for a day? And Mia's like Serena Williams, which is cool. And then Gio is like Jeff Bezos because she's a walking red flag. And then Mia's like, why? And she's like, so I could wire myself $1 billion before switching back. You think Jeff Bezos isn't gonna like sue the pants off you, get you arrested, you weirdo? Mia's like, that's genius, is it? I don't think it is. Just making someone who's also bad a billionaire. Okay. They talk about their worst date ever a little bit. A lot of this stuff, I'm just not gonna bore you with it because like it's so, like, I'm just done with this, you know? Like, this book was so stupid. Now they're going to a steakhouse for starters, I guess. And they talk about what they were really proud of, and Mia talks about like the first event she ever hosted, and Gio talks about like getting clean. It's like, I don't talk about it much, but it was a bad period in my life. And Mia's like, that's great to be proud of. Again, you two are not best friends. It's whatever. And then they just keep going with questions until they're going to a Mediterranean spot for the main course. Who cares? And then they go to a dessert bar. And at the dessert bar, the questions are all sexy. I don't want you asking me sexy questions in public when the waitress is about to come over and ask me if I'm doing all right. You know, like, I just don't want that. And if you want that, that's great for you. But I don't want that. Don't do that to me. Do not mortify me in public. Mia's greatest turn on is confidence. Don't agree, but okay. Their legs are brushing. They're dirty talking literally in public, and it makes me want to die. They're getting turned on in public. Yada yada. I don't care about this. And also they talk about all this like dirty stuff they want to do, but do we get to see them do any of the more like kinkier stuff that they're gonna do? No, because it's one of these books. I hate it. Katie Robert, where are you? It's sad that Katie Robert, I fear, is one of my favorite erotica writers now, except for the fact that, like, I don't like her world building. I don't like her fantasy plot lines. I don't like any of it. I think it's bad and not well done. But at the same time, I'm like, at least she can write a damn sex scene that's interesting and not the same thing over and over. And then they're like, okay, are we ready to go? And they're stepping on outside. And Gio's like, come back to my place. And she's like, no pressure. I just want more time with you. Mia's like, okay. And then they kiss. Hooray. Chapter 18, Gio. Then they just bone. They just bone in chapter 18. I'm not gonna waste your time. There's nothing particularly upsetting about that one, thank God. But like, it's the same shit. Chapter 19, Mia. She wakes up. Gio left her a note being like, I'm going to the store to get food. I will be back soon. Stay naked for me. She rolls her eyes at this. But then there's a pounding knock on the door and she's like, what the heck? And then she's like, it's not just a knock. It was like angry and demanding. Like, it freaks her out immediately. And then she cracks the door open and some guy shoves his way in and he's like, where the fuck is Gio? And she's like, who are you? And he's like, I'm your brother. I need to talk to her right now. Yeah, this plotline actually came back. I really didn't think it would. When I first was reading this, I totally forgot about the fucking brother, to be perfectly honest with you. This book is not long. And she's like, she's not here. And he's like, figures, you're her bitch, huh? That's why she's dogging my calls. She's too busy playing house to answer. And Mia's like, I don't even know what you're talking about. And he's like, of course you don't. She keeps you nice and fucking stupid, doesn't she? And I'm like, oh. And she's just like, I think you should go. And he's like, she's got people waiting on her. We have a job to do, but she's been too busy playing it fucking soft since she got out of the pen. And I think you're the reason. And she's like, what do you mean by that? Like, she doesn't say it, but she's like, what do you mean out? What the fuck do you mean? He's like, you're the reason, aren't you? She ain't got the balls to do what needs to be done because she's laid up with you, acting all high and mighty. But let me tell you something, bitch. Gio ain't some fucking saint. She's a liar. And she's a fucking coward. If she doesn't show up for this shit, I'm coming back for you. And she's like freaking out and she's like, what do you mean? Jail, a job, her brother, like, I don't even know about her brother. Like, what have I walked into? And I think that's a really fair question. Gio walks in, she's like, what the fuck is going on here? Like, what the fuck are you doing here? And he's like, finally, you've been dodging me long enough. Get your shit so we can go. And she's like, I wasn't dodging shit and I ain't going anywhere. And he's like, then why the fuck aren't you answering me? People are waiting and you're out here playing house with your little bitch. You think you're better than me now? We're fucking family and you're playing me over this bitch. And I'm just like, oh my god. And she's just like, watch your damn mouth. He's like, she's got you all soft ever since you got out. And Gio's like, don't talk about shit you don't understand. If it wasn't for you. And he's like, I understand plenty. I understand you ain't the same. I understand you're too much of a coward to handle business. She's like, I'm not doing that anymore. I'm done. He's like, that's right. Just like that. You're out because of this bitch. She's like, yeah, I'm out because I said I'm out. That's got nothing to do with her. In fact, it's your fault that I feel the way I do. And he tries to swing at her. Gia's faster. She starts hitting him. This is a crazy way for this book to go. They're beaten up and she's just like, I told you it's done. And he's like, you'll regret that. And she's like, I already do. Get out. And she turns to Mia once he's gone and Mia's like, no. And she's like, Mia. She's like, no, that's not what I meant. Jail, a job. What was he talking about, Gio? What kind of life have you been keeping from me? And Gio's like, it's complicated. And Mia is like, so explain it. She's like, were you going to do it? Were you going to do the job? And she's like, no, I told you, like, I'm out. It's like, but you were considering it. And she doesn't say anything to that. And she's like, I can't do this. And she's like, Mia. And she's like, no, I don't even know you, which is true. She's like, that's not fair. You know me better than anyone else in the world. I laugh bitterly. Not fair. What's not fair is finding out the person I've been falling for is a complete stranger. Her face twisted, but I didn't give her a chance to speak. I can't start something with someone I don't trust, I said, voice breaking. And I don't trust you, not after this. Mia, please. This was a bad idea. I don't want to see you again. Couldn't even look at her, and then I walked out the door. And she just leaves, and she's like, I'm done. I mean it. Yeah, I know how this book goes, so she doesn't mean it. And she's like, I should go to my apartment, but it just feels tainted by her. She's like, she's been in jail. She never told me, blah, 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 blah. She's like, I was blind, and even worse, I wanted to be blind. I'm like, I don't think so. I think you were kind of being manipulated the entire fucking time. And I don't think you should beat yourself up over that. I really don't. She gets to Ava's because Ava is the only person who exists in these people's lives. She's just like, Mia. And then she's like falling apart, and she's like, oh my God, come in here. Like, Ava and Amir must be fucking exhausted being the lesbian therapist backbone of this terrible community. And then Ava's just like, what did she do? And she's like, she's been lying to me, like she's been to jail. And Ava's like, what, when, recently? And she's like, no. And she never told me. And her brother showed up at her place, and she just goes over the whole thing. And Ava's mouth parted, but she doesn't say anything. And she's like, you knew, didn't you? And Ava's just like, and she's like, Ava. And she's like, it wasn't my place to tell you, Mia. When you first started, I thought you meant she'd actually gone and done it. But now I realize you didn't know that she'd even been to jail like before. I'm sorry, but I wouldn't have ever told you because that was something that was Gio's story, not mine. And Mia's like, that's bullshit. She's like, you should have told me, or she should have told me. Instead, I found out from some cracked out asshole who almost hit her in her fucking doorway. And Ava's like, I get it, okay, I do, but maybe you should talk to her. And she's like, I did talk to her. She's like, and I left, and I told her I don't want to see her again. And Ava's just like, and she's like, she didn't even deny it, she just stood there. And then Ava is an enabler, apparently, and is like, I get why you're mad, but I also think that Gio isn't a bad person, Mia. Her history with her family is it's not as cut and dry as you think it is. And Mia flinches, but she's like, she lied to me. She's like, she hid things from you. And I'm not saying she was right to do that, but she's not that person anymore. Hiding something you know will change the outcome of the answer that you want in a relationship or anything kind of similar is a lie. Lying by omission is a fucking lie. Lying by omission is a lie. Stop pretending it's not lying. I feel like these assholes are like, well, technically, no, it's a lie. Shut up. And then Amir is there, but she sees all this and she's like, and Ava's like, where are you going? And she's like, I don't think I should be here for this conversation. She's like, because I'm supposed to meet Gio. And Mia's like, you're what? And she's like, look, I know you think the worst of her and maybe I shouldn't say anything because I'm just getting to know her. Sometimes everything ain't what it seems. We all have a past though, and we can choose to stay who we are or become a better version of ourselves. Guilt twisted in my gut. Girl, stop with the guilt. There's no guilt you should be feeling. And then Amir is my least favorite character now because she's like, maybe you should be less judgmental and just listen. And I'm like, I don't think that's fair. It's not about the actual romantic relationship because they were best friends for years, allegedly. And she didn't ever say, hey, I went to jail because my family's really fucked up. Why are you people like this? And then she turns to Ava and she's like, do you think I'm being judgmental? And she's like, kind of, Mia. I don't think Gio was trying to hurt you. She's like, yeah, but she still did. She's like, but you're making assumptions based on what her brother did. She's like, I don't know what to believe. And Ava's like, I can tell you what you want to know. And then we find out that Gio went to jail because her brother set her up. He robbed somebody, and when the police came looking for him, he made Gio take the rap. He stashed everything in her room, even had her touch the gun after he wiped it. When she asked her mother why he didn't come to see her while she was locked away, she told her to worry about herself, not him. He was going to get help, but Gio needed to do her part for the family.
You never take sides against the family.
And he wasn't out getting clean. And though Gio held on to that to get her through the 3 years she did, when she got out and found out the mother that her mother had lied to cover up for him because he was still on drugs, she just like walked away. And she's like, can you imagine the people who are supposed to keep you safe lying and manipulating you to keep them out of trouble? Her mother never visited her again, and her brother didn't show up until months after she got out asking for money. He didn't even apologize. And then Mia thinks to herself, what had I done but abandoned her just like that? I want to point out to everyone that some fucking drugged out weirdo that you don't know coming to your new kind of girlfriend slash best friend's door demanding to see her and then threatening you in the morning, being a crazy psycho weirdo who's threatening your life is scary. It's scary. And then they got in a fist fight in front of her. Like, why are we discounting everything that Mia went through just because Gio went through something bad? I don't care what Gio went through because she's a liar. She lied by omission because she sucks. And then Mia's like, why is it okay for you to know but not me? And she's like, I was friends with her already. Okay, but we've been over that Mia was friends with her for years. I don't understand why we're pretending like it wouldn't be perfectly reasonable to come up in conversation at some point. And Ava is just like, Gio's a great person, blah blah blah. I don't agree with that, whatever. Mia's like, I just need time to think. I don't know what to do. And Mia is like, I don't know, I just need some time to think. And Ava is like, I get that. I would need that too. I would need I would need some time to think about that too. But you need to talk. Doesn't matter if you two end up together or not. You owe one another honesty. I don't really think that's true because we've already seen that Gio lied about having feelings for her, lied about going to jail, lied about being involved in a bunch of shady ass shit. And I think that it's time to just let go, in my opinion. Chapter 20, Gio. Gio is screaming and cussing up a storm, freaking out in her own apartment because she's full of rage, and she rips up a fucking canvas that she fucking spent hours on. She shatters a jar of turpentine, which is a fire hazard in case any of you need to know, because I did take oil painting. She's just like wrecking her own art supplies after she finally just fucking got that check. I don't understand this. He is clearly unhinged and I don't like this shit. And she's just like, he ruined everything, my brother. No, you ruined everything. You ruined everything by not opening up to somebody who you were allegedly in love with for years. You did that. Your brother didn't do that. He just kind of lit the fucking fuse that you already set up. I don't want to fucking hear this shit. She wakes up to pounding on her door and it's a police officer and she's like, yeah. And he's like, we need to inform you that your brother was killed last night. And she's just like, what? And there was an attempted robbery at a local bank and things didn't go as they expected. And while they were trying to get away, the people he was with turned on him and took the money and left him dead in the alley. And she's immediately like, no, that's not. And he's just like, hey, we're like looking for suspects now, but we want to let you know, like, is there anyone we can call for you? I don't think cops are usually this nice, but go off. And she's like, Mia, but she's like, I'll call someone. And she calls Ava instead. And Ava comes right over with Amir and they hug her, blah blah blah. And then there's a page break and we go to the funeral a little bit, and then when she turns to leave, Amir and Ava are there with Mia. I'm so glad that we can have this reunion at a funeral. So glad. She turns to Mia, says thanks for coming, and Mia's like, I'm sorry for your loss. Okay. And now like the days are kind of blurring together after this, and Ava's been checking on Gio, yada yada. And when the gallery showcase finally happens, she almost doesn't go, but Ava is like, you worked too hard for this, put on something decent, grab your damn paintings and let's go. And she's exhausted, but she's like, okay fine, because Ava gets shit done. She gets the job done. And people are lingering at her work, they love it. And she sells every painting but one. It's on hold with a potential buyer. She's having a great time. And then Evelyn offers her like a place in the next gallery, which is a step forward. And she's like, maybe this is the start of something new, but Mia's not here. And she's been standing there for a while and she's just like, she's not coming, even though this is like such a big deal for her, yada yada. And Ava's like, hey, you look like you're 2 seconds away from like punching someone. She's like, yeah, is it that obvious? And she's like, it's okay to be happy, you know, like you don't have to like do whatever. She's like, I know. And Ava is like, do you? Because it looks like you're waiting for someone to give you permission. And she's like, she should be here. And Ava's like, you know why she isn't. She's like, I hate that I can't fix it. And Ava's like, she might not want you to. And that's like very scary to Gio for whatever fucking reason. And she's decided like, I'm done waiting, because she just does whatever she wants. And even though the gallery's still having a great time, she's had enough, she hops in her truck. Mia had told me she didn't want to see me again, but I wasn't accepting that. She didn't get to leave me with those words and nothing else. I needed to see her, to make her look me in the eyes and tell me she truly meant it. I think you feel oddly entitled to someone's emotions, to their labor, to everything about them because you want it. I think that you haven't changed as a person since you were doing terrible shit. I think you've just moved on to other horrible. And I said what I said and I meant it. She knocks on Mia's door. Mia is like not looking great. And she's like, Gio, and she's like, I needed to see you. And she's like, why? Because I don't believe you meant what you said. You don't want to see me again. Tell me to go and I will, but say it to my face, Mia. Not over some fight, not in the heat of the moment right now. And then she just like waits and waits and waits, and Mia doesn't say anything, and she's like, so you just needed like space or what? And Mia's like, I don't know what I needed, Gio. She's like, everything happened so fast, okay? And I'm like, I agree with her. And then Gio again is like, you needed space. And she's like, I needed time to think. And she's like, and then Mia's like, come inside. So Gio goes inside, and then Mia apologizes for no fucking reason, being like, I'm sorry I left the way I did. I'm sorry I did this. I want to fist fight you in a Denny's parking lot. Why are you apologizing? And she was just like, I was scared. I didn't know how to handle it. You are the physical being of everything I've ever wanted in a woman. And I'm like, oh my god. Oh my god. And then they're still just saying the same things to each other. I'm not gonna repeat it because it's stupid and it's the same. It's always the same. And Mia's like, I don't want to run anymore. I just want you. And she's like, then stop running. Be here with me. And then they kiss. Kiss, kiss, kiss. And Mia, for some reason, doesn't believe Gio, the loser, is just gonna stay with her. And she's like, you don't really mean it. You won't really want to be with me. Blah, 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 blah. This bitch has done nothing but obsess over you, so I don't know why we're pretending. And then they're definitely about to have sex, but they're just like making out, and Gio's just like, I'm not going anywhere, and maybe next time you can tie me up. And I'm just like, okay. And then this was only the beginning of my happily ever after. This was the end of my nightmare, thank God. It just says chapter epilogue. Why would you write it like that? Whatever. But it's Gio. She's talking to Audrey Nicole on the phone, because that's gonna be what the next book is about. I don't care, so we're not gonna read it. Who gives a rat's ass? And that is the end. Hooray! Conclusion for everyone. I hated this book. I was glad it was only 150 pages because it was driving me up a fucking wall. I don't like when characters act all weird and entitled. I don't like when we make things like so stupid and repetitive. I don't like when you say you're in love with each other and this is supposed to be a romance book, not just erotica, and there is zero actual romance except maybe when they went on that one date right before her brother came and ruined everything. I just don't like that kind of shit. I truly do not. This is actually the book that made someone worried for me on my page bound and was like, you need to find a good book soon. And I was like, actually, I think I'm just gonna keep reading really bad books for my channel really quick so that then I can just film a bunch of stuff and I don't have to be stressed out. So in conclusion, I hated this book. I didn't think it was good, and I really hated how it felt like a straight person wrote it. To me, okay? To me. Don't accuse me of anything. I gave this book 1.5 stars out of 5 on Storygraph and page bound. Don't forget to follow my page bound. I have lots of sassy little updates usually, except I am trying not to spoil a couple of things here and there. Tell me what you guys thought about this book. Did you feel the Valentine's love in the air tonight? For I did not. Either way, I hope you guys had a great time with Recovering Sick Shelby. I hope you had a really great time hanging with me, talking about this terrible book, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!